Representative Seth Moulton there. Let's bring in our panel. Matthew Continetti, fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Leslie Marshall, Democratic strategist, and syndicated radio host Hugh Hewitt. Leslie, what are you hearing in Democratic circles about what's happening, the decisions, and whether it is happening?
Well, I heard a forecast that before today there were going to be probably 40 in all Democrats, and then it would start to be quiet. We have to realize a few things here, Brett. One, Joe Biden makes this decision. Two, if it isn't Joe Biden, it isn't necessarily Kamala Harris. I mean, he could pass the baton and endorse her. He could say, you know, let the delegates speak, and throwing it to the convention and the people. And then, of course, there is the process. And one of the things I heard my homeboy from Boston, Mike Barnacle, say this morning I thought was spot on. I think it's disgusting that those in my party are making this a public matter. Joe Biden has been a politician, a member and a leader in this party, not only as a senator, not only as a vice president, now as president. The Democratic Party is his family. And as a family, we shouldn't be going out and saying, you know, I want him to drop out. There should be a family matter we discuss and come to the best decision for the nation, for the party, and even for the president. And the process, Brett. Yeah. The process is not as easy as people think. And then the data. The data doesn't show Kamala Harris or anybody else overwhelmingly beating Donald Trump any more than Joe Biden.
All fair points. I think, Hugh, judging by some of these stories, and there's a lot of them, it's a cascading number of stories with anonymous sources. There's Nancy Pelosi working the phones. There's the Barack Obama, former president, talking to allies that President Biden should get out. The line in the stories, though, to Leslie's point, was that a lot of these folks wanted it to happen privately. But there was this recalcitrant pushback by President Biden, the family, and some of the campaign that didn't seem to realize the point and where they are currently.
Well, Brett, I want to agree with Leslie. The term that comes to mind to me is disgusting. When you announced Sherrod Brown had come out against Joe Biden, I don't know how many events and fundraisers and favors the president has done for Sherrod Brown. Sherrod ran originally in 2006 against Mike DeWine. He ran in 2012, 2018. I have to think he owes Joe Biden, and I have to think the president in Delaware is getting very close to a Gran Torino moment where he tells Nancy Pelosi, you're 84, Barack Obama, I haven't seen you in 5 years. All of you can take it and stuff it because I have never lost a general election. Gerald Ford came back from 33 points down. You didn't do too well in your first debate, President Obama. You didn't do too well in your first debate ever, Hillary Clinton. I think he might be, unless he's a broken man physically, about to boil over because this is very public and it is very degrading.
Matthew, the people who are calling for him to resign point back to the debate performance. They point to articles and op-eds like Seth Moulton's. They point to an interview with BET where he can't think of the defense secretary's name and calls him a black man. They point to other recent things where it's physical. It's not like a missed debate moment for President Obama. It's a different thing. That's what they say.
Well, if they believe that, and I think Seth Moulton's op-ed is very important, if it is his view that Joe Biden is flickering, then it's not just about Joe Biden withdrawing from the race, Brett. It's about Joe Biden resigning the presidency. If you think Joe Biden isn't fit to serve another 4 years in office, why is he fit to serve another 6 months? And I think that's a serious question we have to tangle with, especially as we have growing threats abroad. I will say this, though. You know, for the last 16 years, Brett, the story has been Republican chaos, Republican division. And now, for the first time, the story is Republican unity, Republican energy, and Democratic chaos and Democratic division. And I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a drive down to a place that we call Candidate Casino. And we're going to do the Democratic side of the coin here. You have $100 in chips. We've done this before, and I think it's evolving, but we'll see, judging by your statements, Leslie. $100. Who's the Democratic nominee?
I never do 100 on anybody. I'm going to do 90 on Joe Biden and 10 on Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay. Hugh?
I've been saying for 2 years he's infirm, but now I'm on his side and putting it all in for Joe Biden because I think what the Democrats are trying to do is like Caesar on the forum, and it's really revolting.
Hugh, you were the first person to bet that Biden was not going to be the nominee.
He's an old Irish Catholic Paul, Brett. I just think he's as mad as can be right now.
All right, Matthew.
I have $60 on Biden and 40 on Kamala, but I was wrong about the Veep stakes, Brett. So if you're betting for real, you might want to swap those numbers.
All right, and Leslie, quickly on the process. You know, there's all this talk about a mini primary and opening this thing up. Is that feasible before the convention starts August 19th in Chicago?
I honestly don't think it is, and I think I need smelling salts. I feel faint because you and I have agreed 100% on this program so far, and I think that's a first. But no, I don't think we have enough time for that, honestly. I mean, we need to be realist here, and you know, we don't have enough time for that. And I would agree with one thing Matthew said is, you know, right now our party is divided, and I honestly think a lot of what we're seeing and a lot of the polls that have changed are due to some of these people in my own party who've become medical professionals overnight. And one more thing, John Tester's race was tight and tough for him long before President Biden stood up for that debate.
All right, I'm going to play a soundbite from former President Trump last night about unity. Take a listen.